Okay, this is number 5, day 76, no Braverman. Some chatter on the web about, my being a Zionist and so forth, and I just kind of want to unwind that. I try not to see this as defensive, but there's more than enough blame for everybody to go around here. As I've said, this goes back to 1982 when the Department of Defense set up the Iran-Contra deal, and Ollie North and George Bush set that deal up. And Hillary was administrating it from the Rose Law Firm point of view. So, like I said before, Marc Rich wrote all about this in his book. He wrote that he took the cartel money, the Nicaraguan cartel money, he bought the Gaddafi oil to launder it, and he put it into BCCI. And if you go back to day 20, or I've been saying BCCI until just got tired of saying BCCI, because basically when BCCI got busted, they changed it to HSBC. So, and if you go back to those early days, like, day 20, you'll see that I said that in 1983, Rudy Giuliani busted him for 65 counts of tax evasion, Marc Rich. And so this is for all those who don't know Marc Rich, he's kind of a citizen of Israel. He's given a lot of money to Ben Gurion University. He's got an honorary PhD there. It's kind of close to our heart, the Israeli wannabes, because he made the desert bloom. He had the secret pipeline going through Beersheba. The Beersheba was the Negev brigade that saved, us from the Israeli army, et cetera, et cetera. So you really have to be, Zionist to live in the desert. This isn't Tel Aviv where all the girls are in bikinis. This is like out in the middle of nowhere. So that's the whole Zionist piece here. So anyway, Comey's still in law school in '83, but Marc Rich, Clinton is getting, they're taking planes, they're flying planes. Barry Seal in 1982 is flying planes from Mena, Arkansas, with weapons down to Nicaragua to support the Contras. And then on the way back, they're flying with empty nose cones in these planes, in Barry's planes, the cocaine, okay? And so that was a good business. And it was to the point they were making $100 million of business. And I'll provide Larry Nichols with testimony. He'll show you all this is true. And that's a tremendous amount of money for the state of Arkansas at that time. And they had to figure out, how do we launder this money? Because it's in these accounts. Well, what they do is they use the state agency, and because any personal account with $100 million would look funny, and it would climb. This is what Larry Nichols said in his testimony. And they would zero it out at the end of the month. They'd cash it out, and they would send it to 2 banks. One was in Florida, the other one was in Georgia, and then they would launder the funds. And then a lot of the funds were laundered through Citicorp in New York, and then they would go to international banks. So that's how they were laundering $100 million a month. So yes, the Jewish guy here is the bad guy. He's kind of like the Shylock figure. He's the one laundering the money. But you've got, the Arkansas folks flying guns one way and flying cocaine the other way. So, and then you've got Podesta here with the Citibank and so forth, and that whole kind of Vatican connection, laundering the funds that way. He starts in '93 or so. So you got Catholics here too. I don't know. I think Clinton may be a Methodist. So it's not like there isn't blame to go around. Now the interesting thing is, Comey comes out of law school. He picks up that case. He was an intern for Rudy Giuliani. Oh, by the way, Giuliani had such a good case on Rich that he fled the country. Rich flees the country. Now, the key thing that Giuliani did is somehow he got hold of 2 steamer trunks full of documents, okay? And some people say Rudy didn't get a warrant for that. So, who knows? I don't know the whole story. Maybe Marc forgot them. But anyway, Rudy got these 2 steamer trunks full of documents. And then he had this team of attorneys go through the thing document by document, and they followed the money, exactly what Braverman said. And they got him on 65 counts. Comey comes in as a law clerk right out of law school, and he is one of the lawyers looking through these papers. So he's on the case from, as I said here, 10 years, from 1987 to 1993 until Bill Clinton becomes president. And that is why the case ends there, because now he's not afraid of having any judicial review on this thing or somebody else from the Department of Justice. Clinton's going to bring in the guy who started the whole scheme to begin with, Webb Hubbell, and they're going to control the Department of Justice right off the bat, and so Comey doesn't have to worry about it. He gives Marc Rich a $140 million fine, which is about 1 month's take from the MENA operation. So Comey has been sitting on these documents for 30 years. So he's some kind of, he went to William and Mary and believes the Protestant saved England and all that. So, again, I think the religious thing is a red herring here. Since that day, since 30 years ago, since 1993 when he walked in, they've been doing these trades with Patrick Kennedy for more agents, quid pro quo 7 times. I've showed that. Also, when they do the fines, the money goes back through the Department of Treasury, and then Treasury sends out the money to the whatever law agencies that he's at the time. So if you look at how this $140 million got doled out, it went to the Southern District of New York, where he's a district attorney. When he did the HSBC settlement for $2 billion, you look at that, a quarter of it goes back into supporting law enforcement agencies around New York, which is like $500 million. So this is just a repeating pattern. And since nobody, I guess, calls them on it, they just keep doing it. Here you go with a quid pro quo in writing to Patrick Kennedy. And somehow McCabe thinks he can get away with redacting the names. You don't redact the names to public emails written, you're a servant of the public. You can't redact the name of the FBI. You have to give that to Chaffetz. You can't redact the name of the FBI agent that negotiated the quid pro quo. So that's where I sometimes get a little bit edgy on the whole religion thing. So now the prostitution thing. Okay, so I'm not, again, I'm going to keep on this riff a little bit. I'm not the one who had bowls full of cocaine for 14-year-old girls, getting them high, and then a lot of them go on to become prostitutes. And if you look at the original cases in Arkansas, you can see a lot of these girls that got the cocaine at these parties, being so young, ended up becoming prostitutes, and their lives ended early. They OD'd at some point, and then died. And again, Monica Petersen's all over this. I mean, it hasn't. You're going to see that she's all over it. There's going to be papers coming out. So, she was training, I believe, as a spy at the CIA school, and she was kind of the spy who had I'm not going to say spy, I don't mean that. I mean an investigator who, like Braverman, has this moral fiber that says this is, wow, there's that aha moment where I'm in the middle of this incredibly wide conspiracy. I think everybody watching this series has that at some point or another, this moment of, oh my gosh, this is really a worldwide conspiracy. And she had that pang of ethics just like Eric Braverman. So, and you're going to find out Carlos Slim with the microfinancing and the microloan sharking on the cell phones is a huge, huge prostitution ring. And they're bringing the girls through Dominican Republic. They're just the way it is. So anyway, like I said, Comey's known about this money. He's had the Marc Rich documents for 30 years at least. 30 years. He knows who the hidden donors are. He's got the bank routing numbers for all this stuff. So, all I say is, Mr. Comey, I really respect you as I almost went to his school, and we're both basketball players, both the same height, 6'8". I really respect Jim Comey. But I think it's the wrong time to go to Congress on Tuesday and start lecturing about the Russia hack, about Vladimir Putin putting in yard signs for Trump. Because it just isn't true. There's no proof there. If you look at the evidence that's presented, he basically said Putin runs RT. Well, I could have told him that. Yes, Putin does run RT. Just like Clinton's run CNN. So finally on this thing about the, Amy Rayo's integrated archive solutions, I'm not saying she's involved, but I'm saying that all these hacks of these different hacks that have happened while Hillary was Secretary of State and after is information going into this archive to build up this blackmail ledger against everyone who has ever worked for the government. The OPM hack, this 1995 hack here, is 21 million people who've ever worked for the government. And then it was proven that China did it. It's Hillary's 5 hackers. But you notice what I've been saying about the Joint Strike Fighter? That goes all the way back to when it turned into the F-35 program. And that was the original hack. That was where they got the plans for the F-35, as I've been saying on another slide. You're going to see a Department of Energy hack, so they could go in. I can't remember the Secretary of Energy's name, but they basically unhooked all of the deals that were about ready to go down. I don't know if Cylinder was before this, I think. But then they put in there basically friends of Bill. They got an alternative friend of Bill, and they put them in to all these bids. Postal Service hack is the Postal Service has an ability to photograph all your mail and so forth, and open packages and that sort of thing. So this is more of a clandestine hack. The atmospheric stuff is going to be the ships moving. The ships are moving, and so you're going to geolocation of ships and satellite data. The White House hack is just to figure out if anybody is in on it. State Department hack is for the same reason, that the same information she was out of office, so she just needed to do another. For this is the daily briefings. Department of Defense. These are all going to be arms deals. They're all going to be arms proposals, and they're going to be inserting themselves in the arms proposals. IRS is just a straight blackmail attack on business, and you just read it like this, and you can figure out every attack she's going to do, and it's all going to end up right here in Archive Solutions. Now, the good part about this is, again, I talk about the golden thread. You pick the right golden thread to pull, and the whole garment comes apart. One of the biggest problems when you try to go after this information is they pull what they call the state secrets defense. Oh, it's national security. Mina Airport, they're going to say, oh, it's national security that we did the narco terrorism. We can't do anything about it. If you've ever had a case against the IRS, you have what they call standing. That means you can FOIA your records, okay? You can FOIA your records for the IRS. You can also bring a class action lawsuit and say that your information is here. You're going to find the VA information here. You're going to find a whole bunch of medical hacks on these servers. I'm telling you that right now. So if anybody works for Integrated Archive Solutions, hey, just pull off file names. You don't even need to do the files. Just pull off the metadata and just send the metadata. The day the file was created, the size of the file, and where it came from. And then all you need to do is a quick pattern match on the first couple megabyte, and do, or even a Google search on the first 1K to see if it matches another file in the OPM, and you're going to find that it does. So that's it for today. Sorry about being sensitive on the religious question, and I'll see you all tomorrow.